In the last lecture, we looked at variable manipulation in C#. Now, as long as you've got a few variables, we can just lay them out pretty much wherever we like. But when you get to programming, you're going to want to actually store these somewhere. Now, logically, you'd think we'd store all of our variables in one big file called variables. But our variables normally are required to perform functions inside of certain blocks of code. And this is where this concept of classes comes in. So I'm going to remove all of this code so far, and we're going to create a class. A class is a simple way of thinking about a big block of code with lots of variables in it, methods, things it can do. We've already come across classes right at the top here. UIKit is a class, Foundation, and Core Graphics. These are all iPhone-specific classes. And when we say things like using, we're importing it into this file and saying, I would like you to have ready for me all of the things that come with that class so I can use it. Let's create our own class. How do we do that? Well, we type public class, and we will call this own class. And then we have to open a curly brace and close a curly brace. Now, every variable we write can be stored inside of this class. So let's have an integer of num1 equal to 6 and an integer of num2 is equal to 15. Now we're getting an error in our console output at the side here because the Xamarin Sketches isn't actually configured to create classes and methods inside of the sketch function. But I'll simply soldier on and explain this class concept to you anyway. So we have these two numbers and they are stored inside of own class. If I wanted to access these variables from some other class, so if I had a public class 2, I wouldn't be able to access them because at the moment these are private. They are private because inside of a class, by default, you can't see anything unless you put the public keyword in front of it. But we always want to keep our variables as private inside of a class. This ensures that our code doesn't become what they call spaghetti code, where we access variables from all different kinds of classes and files, and it makes a big mess and we don't know what's changing our variables, when and how. So, always store your variables inside of classes and don't make them public so that other classes can access them. If you need to access them, what you'll do is create an access method. And I'm going to show you exactly what a method is in the next tutorial.